Class, I hope you're doing well. I'm just going to quickly go through the analysis of the question 11 of 2014 HSC paper with you, just because I noticed that there were some errors being made across the board of the class, and I really want to nip it on the bud, so to speak, just so you guys don't make the same mistake in your assessment task in week 9. Just to re-clarify the question you guys had to do was. It came with a stimulus, and the stimulus being, for some Australians, God is no longer important. Religion does not seem attractive as the country is becoming increasingly secular. And the question in response to this, in relation to this, was with reference to the statement, account for the current religious landscape in Australia. And the first mistake a lot of students were making in this response is they actually weren't answering the question. Okay? They were using this as the main thing to really respond to the question. Whereas the actual question, guys, is account for the current religious landscape in Australia. Therefore, you should be using that specific language of the question, religious landscape in Australia, okay, and then introducing the topics you're going to talk about to answer that. That's all you need to do for the first sentence. Too many students have started their response with, in reference to the statement. By saying in reference to the statement, you're actually not referring to the statement, okay, because I don't even know what you're referring to. You need to be really specific. All right. The next big thing was account for the current religious landscape in Australia. To account for it, you need specific data from the census to show that you're accounting for it. All right. And lastly, the current religious landscape in Australia, that means what it is today, or according to the census 2011. All right. I don't need to know about what was going on in 1945. Okay. When you're talking about the current religious landscape, yes, you can talk about the rise of no religion is a direct result of the influence of secularism, yeah. You can talk about the rise of Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam is a direct result of the increasing immigration from non-Christian countries. Yeah, that's okay, but you don't need to give me a story about the 1970 war that led to, okay, more people leaving the Middle East. One other big thing is you need to be using this stimulus in assessment tasks that you might get in a question in a more, I guess, a smarter way. What students were doing is they were reading this and you identified, yep, it's about secularism, and then that became the whole focus of your response. Should be used as a guide as to where you can start. But what you need to be doing is you need to be looking at the whole religious landscape. And therefore, yep, secularism is part of that, linking up to no religion. But Christianity is a huge part of our religious landscape. And it's the same with other religious traditions and their small rise. And they should be the focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the sample response I wrote for you. And then I'm just going to analyze it, highlighting a few things. And hopefully this will give you a bit more clarity when you get your response back. So, the current religious landscape in Australia has changed significantly as a result of secularism, immigration, and the continuing strong presence of Christianity. Secularism, the absence of religion from public affairs, and its growing influence in Australia has highlighted how for some Australians, God is no longer important. This is most evident in the rise of no religion in the Australian census from 0.3% in 1947 to 22.3% in 2011. Although it may appear that religion does not seem attractive as a result of the rise of secularism, Christianity, despite dropping 26% from 1947 to 2011, still makes up for 61.4% of the population in the 2011 census. In addition to no religion and Christianity, the rise in immigration from non-Christian countries has mirrored the rise in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islam in Australia, and as a result has contributed to the changing religious landscape of Australia. Therefore, despite Christianity's strong presence in the Australian population, the role of secularism and immigration has influenced the religious landscape of Australia to change significantly. So, as you can see, that response is not fancy. It's just straight to the point, providing data that's relevant, okay, and covering three areas that actually cover the religious landscape. So, reference to the statement. We'll go through that first. I'll show you where. If you noticed. Okay, for some Australians, God is no longer important. I'm weaving it in to the response. I'm not making it really like the focus. Okay, I'm weaving it in. Okay, although it may appear that religion does not seem attractive. Okay, and they're the two bits I've done. Okay, that's it. Next one is account. So I need to show that I've got data to show it, yeah? There's there, 61.4% of the population dropping, okay? There. All right, and that's covering two of the main areas. All right, and then lastly, blue, current religious landscape, we're looking at, so rise of no religion. Oops, sorry. The rise of no religion. Sorry guys, computer says no. And then we have Christianity. Yeah. And then we have rise in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islam. And there are four areas. And it's not that complicated. I just sort of covered those two bits, those three areas, provided data for most of them, integrated the quote, and you've answered the question. I really hope that has kind of provided a bit of clarity. I really want you guys, when you get your response, I'm going to give it back to you today. When you get your response that I've marked, can you please read through it and watch this video and sort of look at your response and think about how you could change things. And then if you're still unsure, please come have a chat, because I really want you to really understand the best way to approach these questions, just so you can maximize the marks you can get. Okay, thanks guys.